Hello and welcome to Fix Your Boat, the first edition. As I come to make this first video, a squall has suddenly blown up outside, so there is a bit of drama as a background for this. That's actually why I'm in this life jacket, in case I have to get myself out on deck to control any sort of situation which may occur. The background to that is that I did come off the mooring here a couple of weeks ago and collided with another boat, and I wish to avoid doing that again. So when the wind gets up, I get a little bit nervous. I have had the mooring checked since then, and the mooring is said to be sound. I had it checked by a Russian diver, and he says it's sound. And yeah, but conditions upstairs are pretty hairy at the moment. I think we're gusting probably above 30 knots, and so I hope everything is going to be tickety-boo. So fix your boat. Fix your boats is going to be about me fixing this boat, and it's got three sections. Fix your boat, where I will ask for practical assistance and advice in fixing the boat. I'm living on the boat, and following a sort of series of financial disasters, I have come to live as a sort of a sea gypsy, really, here in southern Thailand. And as I try and get the boat ready for the cruising season, which begins in November. So I've got 2 months to fix this boat up, and then it should earn me some revenue, and that will fix my life up. That's the second section. But also, the fixing of a boat and the fixing of a life are very much they're very much part of the same thing, because to bring order to this vessel, I have to bring order to my life, and to bring order to my life, I have to bring order to this vessel. Having lived on this boat for a year and been with this boat, I can understand how it is that boats are called her, and it's a mothership, it's a mistress, it's something that you get very, very deeply involved with. And it's an extension of yourself, ultimately. It takes over everything. It takes over your dreams. It fully subsumes you within this world. And it's a really interesting thing to go from where I did, which was just being an IT programmer and working a 9 to 5, to saying, sod it, I'm just going to go and get a boat. The reason I did it was because I thought the economy was taking a turn for the worst, and I think that's still unfolding. And that I wouldn't get the chance to do it for another decade or so. So the idea of being thwarted in my ultimate ambition meant that I took the leap. And a lot of things went wrong. I lost my business along the way, not because of that decision, but it just happened that was the time when the wheels fell off that wagon. And I lost a lot of money propping it up, so got off to a bad start financially. I had to sell my original boat, which was a very tidy charter boat, and buy this boat, which is a lovely boat, but it needs a lot of work, or it did need a lot of work. I've done a lot of work, but I need to do more work to get it over the line. So that transformation from one lifestyle to the other has been a remarkable learning curve, which has opened up a lot of new areas for me about being practical. These things teach you practical skills. To live this way teaches you practical skills, because you've got no choice except to deal with practical issues, because you have to meet the challenges that come from boating and living on a boat. I'm going to go into all of that. There's also a financial dimension to it as well, which I call definancialization, which may just be a sort of beautification of the process of losing your money. But it's more than that. I think a lot of people are going through some sort of definancialization, and I'm taking one path to do it, I'm making a lot of progress on it. I've learnt a lot along the way, and I want to share that with everybody. The third aspect to this channel is fix your life up. That's the second. Fix the world, because I don't think any of us, we're in a time of great change. We're in a time of, I think, radical generational danger, and we all need to do what we can to improve the dialogue in the world, understand what's going on, and participate in the solution. It's what Russell Brand calls awakening, and I agree with him. And Neil Oliver, who is another commentator I very much admire, says something along the lines of, we are in a Cold War with powerful forces, with elite forces who are trying to impoverish the majority of the world and take away a lot of the benefits that we've traditionally had, certainly in the West. So we'll be going into all of that in the Fix Your World section. But it's calmed down outside, and that's a bit of a relief. And I'm just going to give you a quick look around the boat. So we'll see what we've got here. Bear with me while I change the camera direction. Okay, so here we've got the companionway, obviously. Obviously you can see the wear and tear there for the last 30 years on the stairs. That needs restoring. This is the back berth, double berth at the back, not being used. There's only me on the boat, but there it is. It's all, I think just very tastefully done with the teak. And you have an electric shower and toilet there. So that all works fine. Here is a freezer, which I am integrating. As I say, I'm just testing out. When I say integrating, when you get a piece of equipment, you have to spend some time observing it, seeing the power consumption, behavior, utility. That's well on the way to being understood, and it's a good unit. It will go into here, which is big enough to take it. This is the old fridge unit in there, but all of that has to come out, which is quite a job. But these are just better and more modern and portable. Got the work going on the battery, and been installing the new MPPT solar charger, which is a great little unit, Victron. And there we've got the nav desk DC control panel, as you'd expect, and just fitted cupboards, and then this nice lounge area. These cushions here, they're out because the engine's on display at the moment. I'm actually, for two reasons, I've got a story to tell you about the engine today, and also I'm looking at the bilges, which had some apparently fresh water in there. I did taste it to see what it was, but there'd been a build-up, so I have to find out where that came from. But yeah, they're spacious, and you can fit 10 people on this boat and it will take them. Here's the captain's cabin, which I'm using for storage a little bit. 2 berths there, and a nice double berth here, and very comfortable, really. Captain's head at the back there, with a hand pump toilet, and electric shower and sink facilities and stuff. Showing its age a bit, so we'll have to freshen that up. Storage, front storage locker here, so a decent amount of room there. And there we go. Let's step out onto deck and see what we've got up here. These fans, by the way, I mean, I'm trying to looking into getting a 12 volt one. That's just a 70 watt 240 volt wall fan that's running off the inverter. You do need them. You do need them at this time of year. You don't need air conditioning, but a fan, that's beautiful. That works beautifully. Right, so come up onto the deck, into the cockpit, and you've got quite a nice old-fashioned type of wheel And teak cockpit area, gonna have to decide whether to renovate the teak deck, which is holding up and it's not leaking, but it's showing its age a bit, but it's, you know, it's still doing a job. And yeah, she's got the walkover deck, what they call the walkover deck. Well, I'll show you as well. It's all about sort of usability. You've got the sugar steps at the back, so it's really easy to get around. I mean, they're lovely cruisers, but they're also great sailing boats as well. You know, they were meant for sailing, so I really like it. 450 watt solar panel there, that does suffice. One 450 for my needs. It needs to really go on top of there. We've got to make this bimini structure more solid to take the dinghy as well, put a davit at the back. Keep the generator here, and I've lashed those cushions on the deck. They're great for sleeping, making a bed, lounging around. Other than that, there we are. There's the Merry Pool, which you will recognise if you know Phuket. I won't spell it out, but I'm in southern Phuket. And there we go. And the mainsail is halfway through being attached. That's a new second-hand mainsail. We've had some trouble with the attachments, but that will be one of the jobs that I'll be doing next week. Okay, so there we go. All good. Oh, going to stick our head up here. Well, that's the outside, and that's where I am during. This is a medium squall at the moment, sort of 20 knots, and this is where I am moored in a harbour in South Thailand. And but then I'm also going to design some improvements. That's what I've shown you there, is the work that's to bring it back to the standard it should be. And then I'm going to ask for people's ideas on how to improve the cockpit living space, make the cockpit more of a livable area, for example, with more comfortable seating, and just add some amenities and to just implement some improvements, and what sort of modern features can be brought to install upon this boat. So it's a small project, 2-3 month project, I hope, and that's really what I'm asking for people's assistance with. And other than that, I'll just be journaling parts of my life, just for my own benefit, but you might find it entertaining. And you may find it interesting to see how you can make this sort of lifestyle work, as we're all probably considering what lifestyle we want after AI comes in like a wrecking ball, and it's probably going to take away a lot of jobs. Well, it will take away a lot of jobs. The question is what you're going to do, how you're going to live. And another commentator made a very good point. Who was it? It'll come to me in a moment. The movement at the moment for really a return from the city to the country. We may be at the first point in human development where it's not advantageous to go to a city, where the disadvantages of being in a city outweigh the advantages, i.e. too many people, too crowded, too lawless, too disordered, too complicated, too financialized, too expensive. Just many social problems have piled up in cities, and people can't afford them. And part of the definancialization and the financial readjustment will be to find other lifestyles. This is one. So you can see how you could possibly make this work for yourself. That's also part of the channel. So let's get into the main format of the channel, which is going to be a captain's log with a summary of events that have happened, and then a little bit of a look at the drawing board, at the planning board, which is a Trello board, and then a section at the end where I will be doing interviews with people of interest, and I will also be discussing the issues of the day. And I'm starting with climate science, the physics of climate science, and how we might think about that. So, welcome to Fix Your Boat. Welcome on board, and let's see how it goes. Okay, so here is the gym that I train at. This is a Russian gym in here in Phuket, and the reason I'm showing it, it's a really good gym. And the Russians, there's a lot of Russians, there's a lot of beautiful Russian girls and really fit Russian men. They're a credit to their country, and this gym is full of scientifically thought out processes and equipment, and there's a real atmosphere of quiet industry in this gym. These guys keep themselves to themselves. They're polite, they're conservative, and I suppose, you know, what I'm thinking is that there's sort of echoes of the war, even here where we are, all around the world. And I think we've been fed a whole load of shit about Russians for years. These guys are not some sort of Boris Yeltsin vodka swigging stereotype. They're very cultured people, as far as I can see. I'm not taking a side in the war. I am not doing that. There is a discussion to be had about the war. But I can assure you that it seems to me that we're in a real time of change, and we have to really be honest about our own prejudices and get to meet real people from the particular country, not to see them as just some cartoon enemy. And so, yeah, I went on to do my regular training, which is deadlifts. He's been doing some deadlifts. And I do the heavy weights because it's very important. The older you get as a man, do heavy weights. There's nothing more beneficial, that and aerobic, to keep your body and soul together. And I'll include a link from Jordan Peterson. I'm also managing a heart condition, full disclosure. Some of the wages of sin, shall we say, from my rock and roll years. But it is very, very important to keep up with the heavy weights as you get older, heaviest as you can. And that means that I'm going to have to really work hard to get a heavy weight, some sort of heavyweight gym onto the yacht, because part of what I'm doing here is to try and have an unbroken lifestyle, have a platform for a lifestyle on the yacht that doesn't have any compromises in it at all. But for the moment, I have to go to this gym to do the heavy weights. So what else happened yesterday? Here's Captain Mike, who's also a Russian, a really great guy, a beard-sporting, beer-loving sailor, if ever I met one. And he's completely free, checking my mooring for me. My mooring did fail last week, as I said, and I collided with a boat, and I've got a bill to pay for that. But it's the sheer terror of your mooring going in a storm. They don't fail when there's no storm. If you're likely to be in a big gale or blow, and it's going to be at night, and it's going to be lashing with rain, and that's when you come off your mooring. And this little fella here, that's the starboard side. Let's get that back. That is the starboard side attachment for the mooring, and it's not. I'm not held on by cable ties. They just prevent the ends of the rope from unraveling because it's particularly thick grade rope. Same on this side. We refashion them and cut them back to thicker rope. The reason why you need them. Oh, there's Mike. He's about 20 meters out. He's just surfaced. The block. There's a block and chain. A block at the end where he was, and a 20-meter heavy chain. And the reason you need it is because when there's a storm, as there was last night, let's get a bit of sound effects on that as well. When there's a storm, as there was last night, you're going to be thinking about those attachments. I can guarantee you that much. Okay, so this is how I'm going to run the site. This is a Trello board, which is a methodology. It uses a methodology in IT. We call it Agile. It came to dominate from about 2010 onwards, and it derives from a Japanese methodology. I'll look up the name and put it here, which I forget, but that gave us the just-in-time system. You've got to do sort of these are jobs: fix the bilge pump, fit the mainsail. Research and design, where I hope to invite really hope to workshop what the best options are for the boat, where it comes to, for example, redesigning the cockpit for more comfortable living, as well as not sacrificing any functionality as a sailing area. And I'm doing these general repairs and the full engine service. And these ones I've done. So we'll be driving things from here. There's also one for the next section, which is Fix Your Life. And let's go to the psychometrics, okay? I'll be filling those out every day. So I've got 2 days of fresh stores, 1 of deep stores, not a lot of food on board, 200 litres of diesel, 10 litres of petrol, 450 quid in the bank. Positivity is a 7, dominance is a 6. Dominance is how much you think you are going to dominate the tasks. It's sort of confidence level indicator. It's gone down. I feel a little bit down today, and I want this to be an accurate record. Interest for that reason is a 6, down a bit today. Alertness a 6. Stress 6 is a little bit up because it was a stressful day yesterday. Social connectedness is pretty good. I'm playing the guitar tonight, performing. I feel pretty plugged in. I don't feel at all lonely. My heart rate 120, 90, 55, which looked really good, but the 55 heartbeat, that's a bit slow. I am going to have a dab of THC oil, which just a tiny little microdose of high quality oil. I find it very, very helpful. I've never used THC or marijuana derivatives medicinally, but I can say that at the moment I find it a very comfortable fit with my mood. It mellows me out nicely. Sort of like a cup of coffee, really, but very all day feeling. Motivations at 7, no alcohol or ganja or kratom, which is a local. It's like a very, very low rent stimulant, but I don't like it. I think I'll be removing that. Bisoprolol is what I'm prescribed as a beta blocker, but I'm managing my condition through exercise. There's a big discussion to be had about that and what you do with you're diagnosed with something, and particularly what I'm diagnosed with, which is mild, but it can rear up. Effectiveness, I think I'm doing well on that today, putting this together. That's an 8. Vibration is how I feel as a human being, because I really do. Since I came to this life, I felt more human compared to my previous life. And that's really important, because I did not feel satisfied and I did not feel engaged when I was sitting there doing IT. The sun comes up in one window, it goes down in another, and you've got a pile of sandwich wrappers and you've done some nonsense on a screen. It doesn't have any human value. You never feel a sense of completion. So vibration is pretty good at a 6. Okay, so going back over here, we've got the Fix Your World section, which is the 3rd section, and I'm going to try and get some discussions going on these themes. Financialization, very interesting one. I'll be going into that. And mainstream media versus independent voices. Strange gods are the self-appointed masters of the universe who are trying to decide what we do and where we go. We'll be discussing that business at some point. I'm starting with climate, so that will be where we go from here. Okay, so here is the climate discussion part of the program. So let me give it a bit of an introduction for you. What I'm attempting to achieve in this section, this is the Fix the World section. So I'm trying to contribute to a debate, and I really do mean a debate. I really mean I am genuinely asking for comments from people who may not agree with the information that I'm actually presenting, because I think that we need to rediscover discussions. And it seems from the research that I've done that there are lots of questions that need to be answered. I'm not going to take a position on them. Okay, I'm just going to present the information and ask the question. There are reasons why it is better not to stridently come down on any body of knowledge on the side of the skeptical in the case of climate to tar yourself with that brush. So I am just asking questions, and I'm trying to just maintain a position of arbitration. So I'm going for the first investigation of the physics of climate change. I am really starting with what I've found to be the most important question about it, and that is a fundamental question about how the Earth actually functions as a self-regulating body that accepts solar radiation and expels solar radiation. Because if we didn't get rid of all of the solar radiation that was received from the sun, we would clearly burn up. So what there is agreement on is that solar radiation comes in the form of shortwave radiation, and it's expelled into the atmosphere, expelled into space through long-wave radiation. The shortwave radiation strikes the Earth, and it's eventually transformed into long-wave radiation. And the question I'm asking today is about that mechanism. So if you want to follow the link, I'm going to publish this document, which are the episode notes for Fix Your Boat 1, and you can see this whole presentation on which this is based. I think that this was a real breakthrough presentation, personally. This guy, Tom Shula, had this insight a year ago, and it's really moved the conversation along. And this other guy, Yong Zhang, I've also included him with some related information. But I'm not going to overwhelm you with data. Let's just get this discussion underway. So this is the NASA version of events, that sunlight comes in here, 77.1 watts per meter squared is the unit, watts per meter squared. So 340.4 comes in watts per meter squared from the sun. I'm not sure what unit of time that is, but I think it's just measured strength at a point in time, I would say. Absorbed 77.1 watts are per meter squared, I'll just call them watts, are absorbed by the atmosphere, and 77 watts are reflected by clouds in the atmosphere. 163 watts of energy are absorbed by the surface of the Earth, and 22.9 of those are reflected into space. That's the shortwave energy cycle. Then the long wave energy, because the short wave is mostly ultraviolet and other short, I've forgotten the other one, but it's emitted as long wave radiation, largely infrared, which is why this is red. So in the NASA model, 398.2 watts are emitted by the surface. Not sure why it's that high, because it seems to be more than these. But anyway, these are their figures. And the total outgoing infrared radiation, which means lost to space, is 239. The back radiation, they mean this radiation, long wave radiation, has been emitted by the surface and is coming back to Earth to create the greenhouse effect. That's set at 340.3, which seems high, doesn't it? Because it's only 1.1 less than the incoming solar radiation. but these are the NASA figures. Now, this is convection. Thermals, air thermals, carry 18.4 watts of energy, and evapotranspiration, which is cloud formation, accounts for 86.4 watts. Okay, so that is the NASA model. And what they're saying is the CO2 in the atmosphere and other greenhouse gases continually radiate the outbound long-wave radiation back to the surface, and that creates the greenhouse effect and keeps the Earth approximately, I think it's 18 degrees centigrade warmer than it would be otherwise. Now, Tom Shula in this presentation introduces us to this, which is a piranha gauge. And this is something which is used in industry, and his assertion is that the piranha gauge demonstrates that at room temperature, at 1 atmosphere, so on the surface of the planet, at 1 atmosphere, which is the surface of the planet, that's the amount of gas, oxygen, nitrogen, and greenhouse gases. Oxygen and nitrogen are over 99% of gas in the air. Carbon dioxide is 1 molecule in every 25,000 in the air. Okay. Now he's saying at the surface, the piranha gauge is going to tell us something. Now, the piranha gauge is something which is used to measure heat dispersal in a vacuum, and it's used in manufacturing to regulate and investigate the optimum ways of manufacturing light bulbs originally, which that's what it was invented for, because they are filaments that need a little bit of gas but operate better in a vacuum. Anyway, it's a research tool. There's a heated wire which is heated to about 60 degrees centigrade. And the point about it is, if you remove all the gas from the piranha gauge, that wire will only have one way of losing heat, and that is long wave radiation. And it loses heat very, very slowly. If you introduce gas at 1 atmosphere into the piranha gauge, then the gas will use the methods of the mechanisms of conduction. Conduction is where the air molecules actually touch the wire and they carry the heat away because the molecules have bumped against each other and heat has been transferred. That's different to radiation. He can demonstrate, or he claims that this instrument demonstrates, that 99.6% at 1 atmosphere, 99.6% of heat is transferred by conduction, not by radiation. So going back to this diagram, he is saying that this is entirely impossible, that the Earth does not emit anything except a tiny fraction of this amount of energy. So his assertion is that this diagram, is completely invalid. For that reason. So the reason I'm introducing this is because it's a fundamental flaw in the physics of climate change, allegedly. So I would like people to answer this question. If they wish to go and see the full presentation, there's no point me butchering it and doing my own version of it. You can watch it here. I'm going to put a link to this in the comments, but when I put the link in, what you're going to see, because I can't put public links in, I'm not verified yet, so you will see this, and you have to preface that with https://::. I'll put that also separately in the comments, and then you'll be able to put the two together and go to this link. Okay, and that's it. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. That's the bones of it. So that's the nugget of information I would like to share with you today, and I'm not taking a position on it. My instincts are to say that climate change, as presented by the IPCC, is completely reasonable and just needs a little bit of toughening up. So if you're somebody that passionately believes in the climate change scenario proposed by the IPCC, please comment. And anybody else, feel free to comment. Thank you very much. Just one more thing, everybody. If you think this presentation is useful and it can move the situation along a bit towards a good conclusion, for that reason, please press like and subscribe, because otherwise the video is in danger of being suppressed by people who don't have your best interests at heart. So let's just try and fix the world a bit. That will make a difference. Thank you.